the Democratic segregationists were all liberal Democrats. It is a lie that they were conservative Democrats.
Everybody was a segregationist, darling. You know, basically, everybody was. White people were. It didn't matter whether they were Republicans or not.
Ann Coulter went on The View and absolutely destroyed Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg, who tried to press her on the topic of race. And you guys already know, if you watch this channel often, that I love Ann Coulter, and she is one of the most based people when it comes to going on these TV shows. It's no surprise why I don't let her on anymore, because she does not care about their feelings. She doesn't care about being canceled. She doesn't care what's politically correct to say. She's just going to say the truth, and that's exactly what she does in this video here of Ann Coulter going on The View and absolutely destroying these woke idiots like Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and the rest of these idiots on this show. Let's get into this clip here of Ann Coulter absolutely going nuclear on The View.
Controversial Miss Ann Coulter. Ann. All right. Okay, I need you to tell me what you're trying to say in this book, because we don't know what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is race-mongering has been very bad for America. Liberals use it to promote causes that have nothing to do with blacks and, in fact, harm blacks. And that excellent lead-in you just gave about OJ, I mean, I think that was the moment, having lived near New York City in the 70s and 80s, which was the golden era. It was like Trayvon Martin and the Duke lacrosse case every day. With the OJ verdict, white America said, that's it, the white guilt bank is shut down. And that ended up being the best thing that ever happened to black Americans.
What are you talking about?
I meant that no longer...
Being acquitted was good for who?
Yes, because you had millions of white people watching, with the equivalent of what in New York we used to refer to as the Brooklyn juries, who simply would not convict even guilty black criminals, not innocent black criminals.
Hold up, Miss Coulter. Please stop. Please stop. If you're going to talk about race, at least know what you're talking about. At least know what you're talking about. Well, tell me how much you know about being black.
Well, this isn't about being black.
Well, but you just said you just made all these statements about how black people feel. Tell me how you know that. Yeah, you did.
This is their trump card every single time. Because they have no actual response to anything that Ann Coulter is saying, all they're going to say is, oh, you can't comment on race or on race relations because you're white. And because you're not a black person, you can't comment on anything that has to do with black people. That's the only thing that they have. Because they have no actual response to what Ann Coulter is saying, any of the things that Ann Coulter is saying, they have to just use that card, the race card, every single time. That's all they have.
Not a book about black people. It is a book about white liberals. And I do know, and this is a fact, that once for years, Republican policies on crime and welfare, for example, were called racist. When they finally got implemented after the OJ verdict, I might add, by crime Giuliani in New York, Reagan and Bush judges overall, tens of thousands of black lives were saved. That is a fact. I don't have to know about being black, but I know because
your facts are just a little shaky. I mean, you're saying that because black people, because liberals are what? Because liberals have abandoned black people now because. What? I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't think liberals ever cared about black people. I mean, 5 minutes after the Civil Rights Act of '64, they start calling everything that has nothing to do with black people a civil rights issue.
Wait a second.
Abortion on demand, homeless rights.
So are you saying that liberals don't care about black people?
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Then are you saying Republicans embrace us in a warm, fuzzy blanket?
We're not embraced back. But yeah, we tried to.
Wait a minute. So the Southern strategy was a white liberal thing? No, it was a Republican thing.
No.
And also, Newt Gingrich calls President Obama the food stamp president. That's not racist?
This chapter.
Wait a second.
Do you really think that was? Do you believe it was racist for Newt to say that the president is a food stamp president?
Well, he wouldn't say it.
If we could just skip, I'm not a big fan of Newt, so we could just skip that for a second and get to the Southern strategy. Because I've specifically disproved it. It's an absolutely liberal folklore. Republicans were winning the South since 1920. It was the outer states of the South. It was Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia.
Voting. What are you talking about? We weren't allowed to vote.
Who was trying to get them to vote? Republicans were.
Yeah,
and the first black congressmen were all Republicans. And the first black governor was a Republican.
You're talking about way back.
That
So
Republican
after-
understand is so different from
Yeah.
No,
how
no,
we
no.
do now.
That is definitely what we're told.
This
But in
Republican isn't that
fact,
bad.
the Democratic segregationists were all liberal Democrats. It is a lie that they were conservative Democrats.
Everybody
It
was a
Jay-
segregationist, darling. And, you know,
The
basically,
Republicans weren't.
everybody was. White people were. It didn't matter whether they were
Absolutely
Republicans
were
or
not.
Ask you a question.
The first integrationists. No, let me ask you. No, that is not. Are you okay? Just read.
That doesn't even make any sense. Like, if everybody was a segregationist, why did it change? Like, maybe I'm missing something here, but if everybody was a segregationist, then I don't think segregation would have ever been abolished. I don't think that ever would have gone away. If everybody was a segregationist, we'd still have segregation in schools and everything to this day. But that's obviously not the case. So it's so ridiculous, man. It's honestly just bored at this point talking about this stuff. But I love seeing Ann Coulter just not, like, nobody else is saying these things, right? Like, nobody else, and this is why they don't allow her on television anymore. That's why they'll never allow her on The View ever again, because she's not scared to say what she really thinks. And a lot of other people are, especially anybody that they actually bring on the show, anybody that they bring on The View. They're too scared to say this stuff. They're not saying this stuff. Not a chance in the world will they say anything like this. You get canceled for saying stuff like this, 100%. And I'm so glad that there's people out there like Ann Coulter that just don't care. Because at the end of the day, if you say this stuff and it's true, a lot of people will agree with you. They're probably not going to say it out in public because a lot of these people have 9-to-5 jobs that they will get fired from. But a lot of people will agree with Ann Coulter, and they have. You know, this clip is pretty old. And ever since this clip happened, every single election cycle, people are begging Ann Coulter to run for president, because they agree with her so much, and she's one of the only people who's not scared to say what she really thinks.
Chapter 14 in this book. The
I'm
first Republican was to be elected in the South.
Listen to my grandmother, who was there, who remembers what
Howard
happened.
Baker, an aggressive integrationist, first Republican elected in Tennessee to the Senate. You have Winthrop Rockefeller, first Republican governor in
But you know, I have a question
Arkansas.
about today. Let me ask
Integration.
you something about what's going on now. It seems to
But the
me
Southern strategy is a lie.
It
And
seems
it's
to me that
explained
voter
here.
suppression is happening in areas where black people and Hispanics are, and it really is being promoted by the Republicans, not the Democrats. So in my view, and I have a different one from you, it looks as though the Republicans are really going against blacks, not the liberals.
No, and this
what do
is
you
a
say to
perfect
that?
example. Yes, it is, and it's a perfect example. No, I'll explain why. Of liberals using the label of civil rights to promote a liberal cause they support, i.e. voter fraud. In fact, one of the first states in the union to pass voter ID bills was Rhode Island, 85% Democratic legislature. And who pushed it? A black Democrat in the House, a black Democrat in the Senate. That's a fact.
No, you may have picked.
They can't dispute the facts, though, Ann. Like, what Ann Coulter is, nothing that Ann Coulter is saying is subjective. Nothing that Ann Coulter is saying, do you have to experience being a black person in America to be able to say? She's just stating facts, and they cannot handle it. They're losing their minds.
Out Rhode Island, but there are other
though.
states where it's completely
Why would
Republican
black
driven.
Democrats be pushing this? Because they had seen
Because they
voter
want the
fraud.
Hispanic vote to go to
Can I
Romney.
ask a general question? Every book that you write is very controversial and shocking, and it's usually an opinion that's disparate with everybody else's.
Right.
Do you just write these books and try to find whatever it is that's going to make everybody say,
Well, you don't believe this crap.
The reason, it's an excellent question. The reason I write these books is because I try to correct things that people believe that are
Ann,
just false.
here's the question
And
for
this
you.
is a lot.
This is a question because I was reading a book,
and you may be the only one that says it, but
Well, there are a few things. I mean, discovering that
what were
we
you
never
saying,
won the
Sharon?
Goldwater states and Republicans didn't win the Dixiecrat states until the Dixiecrats died out.
You keep staying back in the past. You got to come into the present. But this is what I want to say.
That's new to me. The rest of it, other people know.
In reading your book, you know, you keep saying if you would read chapter 14, if you would read,
Well, only on
you
this.
make such divisive comments and incendiary comments and hateful comments at times. It makes people not want to pick up your book and
don't
read it.
think
So
so.
how
People who agree with her read it.
Yeah, well, people
Oh,
agree with
yeah.
you.
No, I don't think so. You name a hateful comment in
No,
here.
you know.
If you say that what Ann Coulter is saying is hateful, then you just disagree with facts. Everything that Ann Coulter is stating on this episode of The View here has been facts. Now, I didn't read her book, so I don't know what's inside of the book. But I would assume that this lady is talking about what Ann Coulter is saying here on The View, not necessarily what she's saying in the book, because she's saying that what Ann Coulter is saying here is making people not want to read the book. Nothing that Ann Coulter has said on this episode of The View is subjective or hateful. It's just facts. If you think that facts are hateful, hey, you might want to reassess your worldview a little bit. But nothing that Ann Coulter is saying is subjective here. Like, it's not up to interpretation unless you are brainwashed, unless you are just completely consumed by the woke mind virus, which these people are. Every time Ann Coulter states a fact that they don't like, that doesn't make them feel good, they just say, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. That's hateful. You're racist. No, I'm just stating a fact. I mean, it blows my mind. Like, do you guys think, let me know in the comments, do you guys think that genuinely Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, these types of people are this stupid? Or do you just think they're acting that way to protect themselves? Because I don't think they're this stupid. You have to be a special kind of stupid, and you also have to be a special kind of talented to be able to recruit this many people who are this stupid to the same table. And every single time they cycle someone out, they cycle someone else in that's equally, if not more stupid. Like recently, they added Anna Navarro to the show. She is probably the dumbest person by far that has ever been on The View, ever. And that's saying a lot considering Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar is on The View. So are they that talented at just finding ridiculously low IQ people? Or are they acting? I think it's a whole lot more likely that they're acting to be this stupid, whether that's for ratings because they want to keep spreading the woke propaganda, or it's they just want to protect themselves and act like they don't agree with facts and act like they can't comprehend the fact that facts are not up to interpretation. It doesn't matter if you think a fact is hateful or racist. It's a fact either way. This thing is existing how Ann Coulter is stating it, whether or not you like it. So let me know in the comments, do you guys think that The View, Whoopi Goldberg, and these people are this stupid? Or do you think they're acting for ratings or for protecting their own mind because they're so just brainwashed and so far gone at this point? There's no point in trying to accept truth. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Ann Coulter going on The View and absolutely destroying Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, and the rest of these woke idiots on The View.